Yo, Rocco B Scotty G. It is Friday, February 2nd, 2024. This is Pro Football Uncensored. This is Naked Bootleg.
This is a bootleg. Then he comes right back with another bootleg.
I'm Rocco B, the longest reigning heavyweight champion of all time in the history of Louisville, Kentucky, and back in our lovely, unbelievable hometown of Toms River, New Jersey. It's the stud muffin of all stud muffins, Scotty G. How we doing, Scotty?
How you doing?
Oh, baby. We haven't been around for a couple days, and
Lots happened, man.
lots fucking happened. Holy
Good
shit.
though. It's good. Got a lot of moving
Huge
parts
fucking
going on
news.
here.
Huge news. We're getting the pieces and parts of the coaching staffs of all these 32 teams locked and stocked. And I can't wait to get to that. We'll get to that in our rapid fire segment a little bit later. But
Our teams are looking like shit. A bunch of drama coming out of my left ear and my right ear. All kinds of dog shit coming out.
Now you told me privately that you've got some Jets shit that you want to get off your chest. I've been seeing some Cowboy shit that I'd like to at least get your opinion on, because I don't really give a fuck about anybody else's opinion about it. And I think we should get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it a little bit.
Yeah, let's do. You know what? I think what we should do is let's just get into our teams for a second.
With the second pick in the draft, the New York Jets select Zach Wilson.
I don't want to be a cowboy.
So
That's still great every time.
I just
Every
want
time
to-
I hear it, I
every
love it.
time. I want you to start. I want you to take the floor.
I don't want to be a cowboy.
That's how I feel.
All right.
I feel it right
So-
now. I feel it all the time.
Let me start off by saying I'm sure most people have seen the news come out about the Jets being an absolute fucking disaster, which is no surprise to me. No shock. I mean, it's kind of par for the course. If you're a Jets fan, you're kind of used to this fucking garbage kind of circulating the media, 24/7. But it's kind of alarming because this is supposed to be the season. Last year, I know we had the Aaron Rodgers injury, but it's supposed to be the season where we're supposed to be kind of putting it together and hitting a stride here. And I don't know if it's possible, to be honest with you. I'm a little concerned. If you haven't heard, Rock, there's been, I guess, anonymous sources, which is always a fucking hilarious thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why people can ever put their names on these things, but I believe some of it's out of, I believe it's actually, I don't know, some of it. I think all of it, from what I've heard. No. Only some of it is out of the Jets organization. There is some from other people around the league, is what I've been told. So,
Sure, some of it's always got to come from inside.
well, I guess most of it's from inside, right?
Got to be, right? It's got to be.
So the problem with this is there's been a lot of chatter. There's been basically saying it's a mess. Hackett's a joke. There's been people. So we recently fired Rex Hogan, the assistant GM. Now, for those who don't know, Rex Hogan is actually the head of our college scouting department. So probably a good idea to get rid of this motherfucker. He's had one really good season outside of, in the first round.
Yeah, Joey D's got to blame somebody.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest with you, I have to kind of look back at this, but I think Rex Hogan was actually with the team before Joe Douglas got there, but in a different facet.
Different role.
Okay. I could be wrong on that, but he's been there since Adam Gase has been there. So he's been there
It's got to be
pre Robert Saleh. He's been there.
Yep.
So with that being said, I've heard quotes come out saying that Rex Grossman. Hogan. Yeah, Rex Grossman. at this point, I'll take Rex Grossman.
Rex Grossman.
Fuck. Rex Hogan. They're saying he was never the assistant GM. Joe Douglas was the assistant GM to Aaron Rodgers. There's reports coming out just saying that just complete dysfunction in this abysmal fucking franchise. You got your boy Colin Cowherd coming out saying there's no way we're going to make the playoffs because it starts at the top and it's just complete dysfunction in our organization, which, at this point, I don't know if I can disagree with him. But the thing that really got me, all this shit comes out every year because our organization sucks. I get it. But the thing that really blew my mind on the postseason interviews, right? Oh, you got a bunch of people talking, exit interviews, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You had some media coming out, and they do talk to the coaches and stuff, and they asked Nathaniel Hackett a couple things.
Nat.
Oh my God, this fucking shit. So our boy Nat Hackett actually came out and told the media that he was surprised about how good Breece Hall was in the pass game. Surprised. So, of course, a media member followed up and said, well, when did you kind of realize this? I believe he said it was the Broncos game. For those who aren't sure when we played the Broncos, that was like week 8, okay? Breece Hall's the same guy that averaged 11.5 yards of reception in 2022. So how the fuck is this guy coming out? He doesn't even know his own personnel. There you got coaches coming out saying Hackett doesn't even watch the film on the practice. Like, they film every practice. They go over and see what everyone did right and what everyone did wrong. Apparently, your boy Nat Hackett doesn't even do that shit. Like, it's complete and utter embarrassment in that organization. And I don't even know where to go from here. You got Breece Hall retweeting tweets that Damian Woody said about how he hates when people neglect the offensive line, and he's retweeting and liking it. Like, come on, bro. I will say one of the problems we probably have on our hands is Breece Hall, I think, is a fucking diva, which I think is going to be a problem the better he gets. But outside of that, he's not wrong. This team's a fucking joke. Nat Hackett's a fucking joke. Robert Saleh's a fucking joke. I'll be hesitant to call Joe Douglas a joke, but he's on a fucking 1-year prove-it deal. And I don't even know, as a Jet fan, I don't even know what to look forward to anymore. What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Jesus Christ. I'll tell you what. I mean, I didn't think we were going to be, getting off on such a hot foot here, if you will, to start off. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the fucking Jets being a fucking laughing stock. Why are we the same? Why are we the fucking same? Why can't I have anything? Why can't you have anything? Why do we have to have this shit together? Both of our teams suck. Both of our teams we can't stand. Both of our teams we think are a fucking embarrassment in this league right now. Why? Why does it have to be like that?
But Rock, at least you get to enjoy up until January. At least you enjoy the season until January.
I don't know. I can't enjoy nothing with that fucking.
My season's over by fucking October every year.
What I think about the Jets, what you just said, shit's coming out. I'm shocked, to be honest with you. I'm shocked it's not worse than this. I mean, really. We've talked about, and we will get into when this season's over. Believe you me, we're not going to stop talking about Jets. We're not going to stop talking about Aaron Rodgers and his effect on not only his team going forward, but his effect the past year since he's been on the team. I truly want to diagram it for everybody, and I want to tell you, I'm going to tell you how I think this guy's running this fucking team from the inside out. And if I'm the Jets, I don't blame them. I mean, you got a guy in Rodgers who's got a shot to bring you home what you want, a chip, right? So you got to acquiesce to this dude. The problem is when you're acquiescing and either he's injured and he's not playing and not helping you, or he's dog shit and you're losing still. So we don't know if that could be the case because he's been hurt. But that first piece I just said,
we don't even know. We don't even know if Rodgers can be Rodgers. I optimistically think he will be good, but I have no clue.
So
he might go out there and be dog shit after 3 games, and I might be like, well, it was a good try.
And we'll get into our quarterback rankings.
I don't know.
I think both of us have Rodgers pretty high on our list, and that's just imagine if the Jets could get a B+ Aaron Rodgers.
And I'm going off of what I've seen in the past and what I think he's going to be, but I have no idea. You can't even judge it 4 snaps. I mean, who fuck knows?
We're going to get into it a little bit more, like I said, especially when the Super Bowl's over. I just want to address something real quick with the Cowboys. I told you on the phone, I believe it was last week, my little hot take for the Cowboys is I don't think they're going to pay Micah Parsons, and he might not even be a Dallas Cowboy here soon, because I don't like the chirping that's going on.
Talk about a hot take.
Talk about it and talk about a diva. I mean, really, if you think about it, if you think Breece Hall's chirping and he's making, retweets of this or retweets of that, Micah Parsons has his own podcast. He can't, keep his mouth shut. And honestly, this guy, I don't know where the Lawrence Taylor clone went. He was fucking LT, apparently, the next coming of LT in his rookie year. I haven't seen him like that in the past 2 years. I just haven't. So, and especially in huge games, I believe this guy fucking just goes in a tank. So, you want to pay that guy $30 million? And then he's also going to be critical on his own podcast and, saying the coach is this and the fucking GM's that. I don't know. So, we all know my feelings for the quarterback, right? I don't know if you can also have then the quarterback of the defense, be chirping and then not really performing. So I'm a little worried. And if the NFC East is like it has been for the past 21 years now,
yeah, you're in fucking trouble.
We're in trouble. So we're gonna see.
Can I just give my quick thoughts on that? So I know Parsons made comments because Jerry Jones, who that's the real big balls in the league, is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones came out and said we're going all in for 2024. Now I know you love hearing that, and that's a great sign. He's not building for the future. I think it's technically what he said. Yeah. But what I don't like is Parsons' comments on that were, yeah, I hope we do. I hope we go and get the right guys. Now, I'm not saying he's completely wrong. Like, yeah, maybe you do need a couple guys, but I've never, and you can correct me on this if you can remember differently, but I cannot remember a superstar, and that's what Parsons is projected to be, in this league. I cannot remember a superstar on a team that won a division that was a top 5, top 6 offense, defense that went out publicly saying we need to go get more help. I've never heard that in my life, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe on offense, hey, we got to go get a quarterback. Hey, we need this, we need that, or we need another playmaker. Maybe. I've never heard a defensive guy come out and say, we got to go get the pieces. I feel like defensive stars are dogs and they're like, fuck, we'll make it happen. Have you ever heard that? Because to me, I don't like hearing that.
Yeah, and again, I don't know, he's got his own podcast. This is a new thing for, kind of the league where these guys have their own channels and their own ability to fucking speak their mind and all that during the season after the
which
season.
I don't mind, but I mean, like, bro, you had a top 5 defense.
Just take it back.
What else do you need?
No, I mean, we'll take it back to the summer. I mean, you remember Trayvon Diggs calling Dak Prescott out in the middle of training camp and yeah,
but I've never heard Diggs come out and say, "Hey, we need another corner, we need another safety, we need more guys."
Well, about the coaches too, and that was the thing that bothered me. He called out the coaching staff, and then you also got to imagine that maybe included Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn just fucking, I thought was his boy. I thought, Micah said if Dan Quinn goes somewhere, I'm going with Dan Quinn. To me, when you're talking about coaching, you got to say, well, who is it? Is it the offensive? Is it special teams? You got to mention what you're talking about if you're going to say some cryptic shit like that. I don't like it. I don't like the state of the Cowboys right now.
You think there's any way he does follow Dan Quinn?
They would never. I mean, he's under contract for another year and a half, basically, if not 2 or 3, with the franchise tags and all that. And they sure as hell would never trade him to Washington. But
oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean that's
I didn't think about that in
Washington,
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in our rapid fire. He's it's a big piece there. But yeah, man, I think that's where we go next. I think we got to talk about these coaches.
Let's get into it, baby.
Let's do it.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
So, here's the thing, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Coaching. Huge. We know how big it is.
Oh, yeah.
How big the fits are,
It might matter more in football than any other sport, to be honest with you.
I would agree with you. And the reason why I'm repping Sean Alexander today, Seahawks fans, you got yourself a new head coach. And it's Mike Macdonald, the fucking badass defensive coordinator from not only the Michigan Wolverines, but the Baltimore Ravens.
You're fucking ridiculous on this shit.
I think that this hire, even though I would have put all of my money on them switching sides of the ball with offense, they go half the age of Pete Carroll on the new age defensive coordinator. So maybe it was just they thought that Pete Carroll was a little fucking old in the tooth.
They're an ageist. They're a bunch of ageists over there.
They're a bunch of ageists in Seattle. And I'll tell you, like Boeing did, maybe they thought Pete Carroll was not operating the planes the right way and the fucking doors were blowing off in the fucking middle of the air. So they just said, we got to get rid of Pete Carroll. Let's bring in somebody new, and Mike Macdonald is in. And I think it's a good hire from the standpoint of maybe he reinstates the Legion of Boom in Seattle. And you got to imagine that any dude coming from the Harbaugh staff, which he was with Jimmy and he was with Gianni, you got to imagine that this kid is going to be able to fucking coach this team the right way. So what do you think about it?
You're the same guy that said everything's offense. I agree.
Right? I agree.
Oh, yeah. You're also the same guy that said, Ben Johnson, I hate these coordinators that get a shot. Why are we all after the hot coordinator? What the fuck is this? This is a hot coordinator, and he's on the defense side of the ball. You're okay with this? Not okay with Ben Johnson? I don't know.
I'm not okay with it, but think about who's out there, right? So you get rid of Pete.
Yeah, Mike Rabel's out there.
Mike Belichick out there. You got Bill Belichick and you got Dan Quinn. Bro, they're all defensive. So it's like if you say, all right, I'm going to take the old asshole.
So why not take
Belichick.
Rabel?
I'm going to take the middle-aged asshole.
I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you this about every single one of these.
Yeah.
Why not take Rabel?
Okay. So to me, you don't take Dan Quinn, which to me,
I get Dan Quinn. Why not Mike Rabel?
But everyone thought that was obvious, though. I mean, he used to coach in Seattle, so something must be disconnected there with Dan Quinn and Schneider and the ownership.
He probably wanted a different approach to the organization. And
young.
Pete Carroll and Dan Quinn are the same fucking guy.
Correct. And I think they wanted to get young, right? They wanted to get new.
Dan Quinn's not that old. He's like 53.
No, but he's older than Vrabel, and he's older, of course, than McDonald.
So why not Mike Rabel?
Vrabel, I think, is too hard-headed. I think he's too much of a dickhead, and I don't think that's what they want, especially on the West Coast. You know how it is on the West Coast. It's very relaxed, very fucking chill, very not like fucking in your face. I think McDonald coaches an in-your-face defense, but I don't think he's a what they call a Vrabel. They called him abrasive. Like abrasive is the best way to fucking describe him, right? Vrabel's an East Coast guy. Vrabel's an Eastern fucking,
He's gonna be a great New York Jet coach.
He will be, and you should be fucking thanking your lucky stars like I am, saying that fucking Belichick and Vrabel's still out there, right?
All right, let's get to the next guy.
So
this
now,
is more like a fucking snail fire.
Speaking of fucking. Dan Quinn, we thought he was going to be a shoo-in for the Seahawks coach. But then he takes the fucking Washington job in the division. He leaves Dallas.
Commanders.
And now it's like, okay, like I believe he was like Washington's fourth fucking choice. And Danny Boy must have sensed, I think, that he was not going to become the future potential Dallas Cowboys head coach. I think that's why he left. I think that's why he's been staying, to be honest with you. I think he stayed for so long. He didn't take an HC job last year because he thought he was going to replace fat ass in Dallas. And now, they're not going to replace him with Dan Quinn next year. It's going to be big balls. It's going to be Vrabel. It's going to be God forbid Deion Sanders. Okay. before it would be Dan Quinn. So,
Oh, I would love that. I would
what do
love
you
that.
think?
Yeah, full circle.
We'd have a whole show.
So I agree. I'm going to give you a little reporting on the East Coast, tri-state area, as in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. What the news over here is saying, what they're speculating. Okay. So when Steve Kerr, the Golden State Warriors coach,
yep,
I'm going to bring in quite a bit of basketball into this conversation today.
That's just wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. So Steve Kerr, the Golden State Warriors basketball coach, when he first got the job, supposedly he met up with Pete Carroll, and because he just wanted to know, at that time was Legion of Boom. I think it was 2014. Pete Carroll was in his heyday in Seattle, and Steve Kerr wanted to kind of pick his brain on, like, yo, how do you become successful as a head coach? Mm-hmm. You know, just in general, how do you lead men? And apparently they met, never meeting before. They had a great relationship, which apparently they still hold true today, and they converse back and forth, right? So one of the executives on that team in Golden State was Bob Myers. Now, again, Dan Quinn was on that staff in Seattle when Steve Kerr reached out.
Sure.
Okay. Now, fast forward, you have new ownership in DC, let's call it. I don't like to say Washington because it makes it confusing. Yeah. You have new ownership in DC with all this. One of the he's not an owner, but he's a what's the word I'm looking for when you have someone someone to talk to, advisors. Sorry, couldn't think of that word. One of the advisors for this new organization, Bob Meyer. So there's some belief that Bob Meyer already had a relationship with the Seattle Seahawks staff from back in the day, and he already had a relationship with Dan Quinn, and he was one of the people to promote the idea of bringing Dan Quinn on, because supposedly Dan Quinn had like a bunch of ringing endorsements from all around the league.
Yeah, well, it's interesting with Dan Quinn as far as you think you go offense. I really believe they wanted Ben Johnson. I thought Ben Johnson just didn't want to deal with the shit in Washington. And Ben Johnson was smart, and we'll talk about him in a second. If he's asking for a boatload of money, if you want to take him away from Detroit, you want to take him away and put him in this fucking shithole that's Washington right now, then you better pay him. And if you want to pay him, he's not going to leave, and that's fine. But with Dan Quinn, what he's got to do is he's got to go get himself a quarterback. They've been linked to wanting to bring in now Chip Kelly on the offensive side. Now, Chip Kelly would be his OC. You got to think they're going to draft a mobile quarterback in the draft. So we'll see about that. I think Jaden Daniels is garbage, but I still believe that when I get to my hot take of the number one pick in the draft, I think Washington's going to have a lot to do with it.
You think Sam Howell's not able to be fixed?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
No, I think they start over. I would too. Not based on Sam Howell, and he's got to get a better diet, number one. Number two, I just think as a new scheme, you need to, GM, coach, all that shit. You want to start with your new quarterback. Now let's get to, and we'll follow, of course, these coaches.
I also want to say, though, I would have hired Rabel over him. I also, though, understand you get a veteran coach to pair with a rookie GM. I get that too.
Sure. I mean, Vrabel, there must be something with Vrabel and his attitude. I think that's rubbing some people the wrong way. I think, honestly, before we get to all these coordinators, I think New England's going to fucking really feel terrible about what they did. I don't think Gerard Mayo is going to work, and I think they're going to really rue
I disagree, but keep going.
They rue the day they didn't get Mike Vrabel, I think. Okay, let's get to the coordinators now. The dickheads, the Philadelphia Eagles have two. Not one, but two.
I like these hires.
Again.
I like these hires.
3 years in a row, ladies and gentlemen.
I like this better than last year.
Kellen Moore. Ain't scared of him. I'll be fine. We'll be fine without watching Kellen Moore try to be the ACL and the PCL and the MCL for Jalen Hurts. And this defensive coordinator now, Vic Fangio, again, his players in Miami, I don't think liked him. He had a shitload of talent in Miami. Their defense didn't live up to snuff. And I'll tell you, the Eagles have way more issues than the Miami Dolphins do with personnel on defense. So, we'll see. Now, the rumor is that Dallas is talking to Ron Rivera for their defensive coordinator. You might as well fucking shoot me now. Right? Fucking shoot me now, buddy. Okay. So
can I just say this?
Sure.
If what was said in Miami is true about Vic Fangio, I like these hires, by the way. I think Moore is a great fit to bring in because you got to get A.J. Brown the ball so he doesn't fucking cry. And I think Vic Fangio is a good defensive coordinator. I've never heard people not like him until recently with the Miami thing. But if that's true, oh boy, I'm getting my subscription to the Micah Parsons podcast tomorrow. I can't wait. He's going to be talking so much shit on him.
So much shit. And then you got fucking Ron Rivera, maybe the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. I mean, Riverboat Ron, just throw me into the fucking river.
Bro, you got to go get Rex Ryan. Why is no one getting this guy?
Would love it. Would love it. Would love Rex. Would love it. I just want to throw something up here real quick, Scotty, and this just hit me the other day. I really believe I know what the comp is now for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is Cam Newton.
No,
I really believe that's what he's going to be. If you look at their stats,
I do not agree.
And we'll get into that deeper in another podcast.
I honestly, I said it today in our group chat. He reminds me more of a more slightly more mobile or a young Donovan McNabb, which is ironic. Yeah, that's what he reminds me of. And if you look at his stats for the first 62 games, they're almost identical.
Yeah,
for his first 62 games.
We'll get into that in another show because
Cam Newton can't throw at all, dude. At all. I think Jalen Hurts can throw. I do.
So we'll see. I'm excited to get into that because I thought a lot of your private text was out of this world. But now we go with Pittsburgh and my boy,
I like
Arthur fucking Smith. Right. Good luck, Pittsburgh. You got two running backs that can play, and you got no quarterback. I'm interested. To see
bring in a run game
when
guy.
When Arthur Smith has ever been a part of a team that has two running backs, maybe sometimes three, and no quarterback. Interesting. Oh, that's right. That's where he just came from. Okay, so and then now we want to go in the division, staying in the AFC North. My boy Kenny Dorsey is going to now be the new OC in Cleveland. Okay,
who was the OC there?
Alex Van Pelt.
So I just assume Stefanski did everything there. Is that wrong for me to assume that?
I would believe so. Yes, and I'll tell you what, Dorsey has worked extensively with Joshy Boy, and now he gets to work with Mr. Masseuse. So maybe, just maybe, we'll start seeing Deshaun Watson use his fucking feet more instead of using his fucking palms on his dick in a massage table room. That's what I
like. But wasn't the biggest problem that Ken Dorsey didn't run the ball?
Yeah, sure. But
you got Nick Chubb there. You're not going to run the ball?
Yeah, Nicky Chubb. You're going to have Jerome Ford, but you need Watson to run the ball. That's how Watson was his best in Houston. You need to go RPO with that motherfucker. Now, Kenny Dorsey's former team, the Bills, said, hey, Joe Brady.
I like this.
You're going to stay on because we don't want you going anywhere. Joe Brady got some fucking head coaching interviews, Scotty. I couldn't believe it. Why is that Why is that so shocking to you? It's just he seems like he's 22 years old. I think he's 27, 28. I mean, he's a young guy.
Oh, is he that young?
I think he's pretty damn young.
I need
he
to
looks like he's 12, but I mean, he's a friggin' young guy. I think he's in.
I thought he was 34 or something like that.
But I'll tell you, the shit he did with Burrow at LSU was unbelievable. And the shit that he's been doing now with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, making that team look completely different than what it did before.
He's 30. He's 34. He'll be 35 beginning of next season.
Okay.
I know that's young, but if you look at the coaching hires outside of Harbaugh and Dan Quinn, they're all in their 30s. There's two in their 40s.
Yeah, young guys. And
40s and 30s.
Oh, Scotty, there's some news in Las Vegas. The Raiders, if you haven't heard, they've hired a new offensive coordinator.
Everybody's sucking off Cliff Kingsbury.
And his name is Cliff
what?
Kingsbury.
Rock, can you explain to me what this guy has ever done that's been successful? I guess if you want to look at Kyler Murray, but he's doing well without him too.
Well, here's what you seem to forget.
I understand college. I understand.
He coached Patrick Mahomes.
And Mahomes underachieved in college.
Well, Texas Tech has no pieces. But yes, listen, I'm not a Kingsbury guy.
He's never done anything.
But this is the first step.
Don't forget he coached USC for about 15 minutes too.
Let's just put this together real quick. Cliff Kingsbury goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. To me, here's the first step. They trade Devontae Adams to the New York Jets for the number 10 overall pick.
You might be right on that. I hate it, but you might be right.
Either both of their first-round picks now with that pick from Adams, or they package some other type of deal to move up to number 1 and take Kingsbury's boy at USC, Caleb fucking Fingernail Williams. You watch that. Watch what happens. The Oakland Raiders, what used to be the Oakland Raiders, and now the Las Vegas Raiders, are going to bring in Caleb Williams. That's why they're bringing in Kingsbury. That's the reason why they hired this motherfucker. Just wait. Houston Texans. Our boy Bobby Slowick staying on. Offensive.
I like that. I think that's good.
He also did not take a head coaching job. I don't think he liked the either the Seattle or Washington gig either. And same thing with old leader of men, Benny Boy Johnson, who fucking blew it in the second half for the Detroit Lions, because we all know Dan Campbell doesn't call the plays. He says go for it. He says let's go for 2 on the 14-yard line. He says let's not kick a field goal to go up 3 possessions. But
are you really going to blame Ben Johnson for that game?
Dude, he Shanahan'd it. I hate to say it. He Falcon Shanahan that game.
So you think it was Ben Johnson who went for the 4th downs?
No, I think it was Ben Johnson who absolutely got completely crazy, stopped running the football, and put Goff in shitty situations, put that team in shitty situations. Where the fuck was Amon-Ra St. Brown? Anybody fucking know who that guy is now in the second half?
It wasn't his fault. They threw the ball to him. He would drop it, or he just wasn't open.
He was. I mean, you gotta scheme him open. How do you think Cooper Kupp?
So that's how it works. Is you have one of their
combination.
You have he literally walked into this team with Jared Goff, one of the worst organizations in NFL history.
Terrible,
and has had a top 3 offense for 2 years in a row. And we're going to shit on him now because of one bad game?
I'm not shitting on him. I'm just telling you, he blew a game. He blew a game. So you have to understand that, when a McVay can scheme open a 5th-round draft pick, when fucking Shanahan can scheme open, a 5th-round tight end, whatever, you got to be able to get your guy the ball. And he didn't do it. And Goff didn't blow it. We all know that. Can't blame it on Goff. You're not going to blame it on Gibbs for one fumble. Okay? Like, come on. So it was the coaching staff for the Lions, and it was especially BJ and fucking old Kneecappy.
BJ is what we're calling him now.
BJ. So all right. So what else you got? You got anything on the coaching side of it you want to mention?
I will say this. Nah. Actually, I don't. There's nothing else really to get into.
What are you gonna say?
Well, I think we've covered it before, but I was just reading about the Dave Canales shit about his porn addiction and his alcohol abuse.
His wife.
I think you mentioned that already, but I just really read the article on it, and it's like, can I ask something? Like you're kind of in the public eye, like even though at the time you were a coordinator, you're in the public eye. Why the fuck you writing a book about basically all the things you fucked up in life on? Like this is something you do after you retire. Not when you got to go up and ask questions after every game. Like, there's going to be some jerk-off reporter that's going to be like, so you guys lost today. Was it because you were whacking off in the fucking locker room? Like I'm telling you.
Are you going to go home or are you going to go to the bar tonight, Davey? Here's the thing, man. The funny thing is, too, the way I took that article with Canales and all that is that how fucking desperate is Carolina? I mean, Carolina knew that.
Well, we said that it was going to be a guy that, it was going to be
a guy that cheats on his wife. Like, you got to pick that guy.
Well, I mean, come on. A lot of these guys probably cheat on their wives.
Saying, I mean, there's.
I would say
I write books about it.
I would say this maybe because of that book. Well, it came out, I think, last year. What I was going to say is maybe because of that book, maybe teams don't want to touch him, and that's why he took the Carolina job. I don't know, but I just don't know why you do something like that when you're in the public eye at the kind of the beginning of your career. Like you got to spend the next 20 some years of your life answering questions, talking to the media. Like, ain't the time to be writing shit like that, in my opinion.
Crazy. It's fucking crazy. All right, now let's have some fun real quick. We talked about who would we rank our quarterbacks from 1 to at least 35 or 36, because we want to rank at least the top 3 or 4 backups in the league.
Yeah.
And I think we should get there. Okay. Let's what I'll do is
I did forget a guy, Rock, though. I forgot to put old Danny Dimes on my list, but I'll when we get to it, I'll kind of show you where I would have had him.
All right, well, let's get to yours then. So let's put yours up. Looks like there is no Danny Dimes on this list.
Yeah, I probably would have had him probably where Darnold would have been 32. He probably would have been 31. I know that's crazy to say, but I mean, you think about it. Tyrod's the one who replaced him.
Your top 6 is there's
What's
four guys of mine in there, and there's 2 that are not close for me. As we put mine up here, this is let me put this. Let's put it like this.
So what's your issue with my list?
Both you and I have Mahomes and Burrow as the top 2. I think that's pretty.
I think that's pretty unanimous. Yeah.
And then I have Rodgers and Josh Allen also in my top 5, but of course with Lamar Jackson as my number 4. You have Matthew Stafford in your top 5, which I cannot believe. Wow. Okay.
So why would you not believe that? So you're talking about a guy who won a Super Bowl, 2-3 years ago? You're talking about a guy that has almost like he's like in the conversation of like literally every passing record. And I know you can't go too far back. We're talking about now, but the guy's still balling. I mean, the guy was in the playoffs this year. When healthy, he's an elite quarterback. Yeah. From what I've seen, at least this year.
Yeah. I've seen him get blown off the field by teams. I've seen
him get it done. Like that Rams game this year, he did not lose it. He didn't lose it.
Yeah.
Lamar has lost games.
Yeah.
Even Josh Allen's lost games.
Yeah.
But I Josh Allen with his legs, I gotta have him up there.
I'm looking at what they can do as their complete package of the game, or their clutchness, their factor of getting hurt, like shit like that. But also just who would I take in a game? Like, you're talking about one game to win a game. Who am I taking? I mean that changes it though, because if you're talking about a guy you would just take in one game, I mean, I might take Joe Flacco in one game. He might be my top 5. Yeah. I might take Eli Manning in my top 5 if we're talking about one game, because he's one of the clutchest 2-minute quarterbacks of all time. So talk to me about this.
So real quick, the way I ranked mine based on what I've seen this year and where they're at this year, and then where certain things I have to kind of give edge to and credibility to is as far as your overall career. Like, I can't have Purdy be above some of these other guys, even though I think he will be. I think Purdy's going to be in the top 5 pretty soon here, but Purdy's played 1.5 seasons. How am I going to put him in a top 5 when you have to show me you've done it more than just once in your career? And that's why, for me, Hurts dropped. It's because right now Hurts only done it one time.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I mean, I'm shocked to see Purdy 10th on your list.
I got to be real. He's only played one. He's really only showed us what he can do for 1.5 seasons. Like, if he did it for 3 seasons, all right, different story.
Yeah, I mean, we can make that same argument about Tua and Herbert. I mean, I don't think they've shown us much over a long stretch that they are elite, right? But here's another one. Again, I can't stand the guy either. But if you're telling me somebody to win a clutch football game, somebody who can use his legs, somebody who's it seems like he's got a little bit more of a slightly more of a clutch factor. I think you got to rank Dak in front of Cousins. I think you do. Barely, like I did, but
I mean, I got him right there with him.
Yeah,
it's right in the same category.
And really, that's what I talked about with you, and I think you agree with me now. You have Goff at 13. I have Goff at 11. I think Goff is a top half of the league quarterback minimum. I mean, and we put him at 11 and 13. That puts him at the top third. So
yeah.
I think
I was thinking about it. I can't put Trevor up there. I mean, you have Kyler a lot higher. Kyler hasn't done shit.
Kyler 13. Yeah, he's only 3 spots ahead of yours. I'm telling you, we both got Stroud at 14, which is
So
I think.
And
right where he's at.
how do you have Tua so low? I get it. He's had 2 successful seasons, but Tua's like he's the most accurate quarterback in the league.
I know, but he's small. He's injury prone. You can't put him in a fucking.
Didn't get hurt this year.
Can't put him in the cold weather.
And Richardson's, we saw him for 4 fucking games, bro. How do you have 16?
Richardson, it's more of what I've seen when I've seen it. I think if this kid stays healthy, he's going to be.
That's a big gift.
Everything that everybody wants what Lamar can do, but better. That's what I think. I think that's who he's going to be. He's just got to stay healthy. And I'm telling you, I think Jordan Love is better than Trevor Lawrence. I think you're going to have CJ Stroud. He's a better fucking quarterback, unbelievably, than Trevor Lawrence at this point. Where's another one? Geno and Baker. You got.
I got Baker at 20. Where do you got Baker at?
Baker at 23, right?
Yeah, so that's close. Where do you have Watson? I don't see Watson on your list.
Watson is 19.
Oh, 19.
So he's one behind.
I got him at 18. Yeah, it's pretty close.
We
got a lot of guys pretty similar. Tannehill's both 29.
29. Yep.
We both got Stroud at 14.
The biggest thing I disagree with is Flacco. I think Flacco is a starter. I think I would play him.
Flacco is no. See, this is why, and I thought about that. So if we're talking about Flacco, his career, then that's one thing. But the problem is Flacco is only going to be good in a certain system.
Well, let me ask you this question. So,
Flacco, look, you saw Flacco a year younger in the Jet system. They don't have an offensive line. Yeah. Guess what? Didn't look great.
Yeah, but
he can't move. He needs to be put in a situation where he's got a run game and an offensive line.
Put him in Pittsburgh. Imagine him in Pittsburgh.
I agree. Right? But imagine him in Carolina. Imagine him
I agree.
In a lot of places.
He can still start. If I put this thing up again, right? And you got Flacco in there. He's
not an all-year starter. I don't think so. I think he's good for 6 or 7 games.
He's better than Tannehill. He's better than Brissett. He's better than Tyrod Taylor. He's probably better than Sam Howell.
I don't agree.
On an every down or in every game of the year.
He's going to be 39 years old.
I'm with you. Brady was 45. So, I mean, Rodgers is 40. So, I mean, I know they're all world and shit, but Flacco
they're a lot better than Flacco was.
Was a fucking Super Bowl MVP, and he was balling. Now, is he going to throw 20 picks a year? Yes. But he's going to probably throw you 40 touchdowns. And that's what you got to take, I would start Flacco absolutely as a bridge guy or on a team that you feel like you got this rookie quarterback who's not ready and you have a team to win, to get to the playoffs.
He didn't look good in the Jets. He didn't look good in Philly. He hasn't really looked good in the last few years. He had some magic going because he had a familiar good offense for him in Cleveland, and he had a good offensive line and a good run game, and he had a couple really good receivers. So you put Flacco in San Fran, you put him in maybe even Miami, you put him in Dallas. Yeah, he'll be good. But there's not many teams that's a good situation like that. Like there's more teams that are bad. So if you tell me, he'd be great in starting for 5 different teams, guess what? Those 5 teams don't need bridge guys unless the quarterback gets hurt. Most of the league, he's not going to succeed in. He's not going to be good. He probably won't even be good in Jacksonville, honestly.
We'll see. But here's the thing. You're going to also inject here probably about 5 other rookies, right, that are probably going to be starters or, incumbents for their team. Some of these guys are going to get kicked out. I believe, and a guy you also don't have on this list is Will Levis. I think Will Levis could be a guy.
Will Levis hasn't shown me shit. A guy you don't have on your list that's blowing my fucking mind right now is O'Connell. O'Connell's had a great actually end of his season here.
I
look at the numbers and watch how he plays, man. The Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders are not a good team.
Yeah, no, I should put him above Bryce Young. You're right.
He's better than Pickett. He's better than Rush. He's been better than Darnold. He's handled the pass rush better. He's thrown less picks than Howell. I mean, Browning. I haven't. Browning. I can't. Yeah, I like him too, but I haven't. See, this is the other thing on my list. Pull my list back up real quick. You noticed what I don't have on here, and this is why Browning's not on my list. I don't have anyone on this fucking list except for O'Connell. So let me say that. Except for O'Connell, I don't have anybody on this list that hasn't shown me at least a season of fucking play. And O'Connell just really kind of impressed me. So I should probably have him lower based on the fact that he hasn't played a full season.
Yeah.
But everyone else is on here has played a full season.
Who would you kick off my list?
Probably Cooper Rush.
Okay.
I mean, if I kept it at 36,
yeah,
probably Rush or Browning. Like Browning, I mean, yeah, he looked good, but
I don't believe Desmond Ridder is a top 36 quarterback. I would kick him off your list immediately, and I also don't think Tyrod Taylor's on there either. Like I think
Tyrod Taylor's definitely on there. Ridder, I would probably put Ridder's probably where O'Connell should be, and everyone should probably bump up one, and you throw Danny Dimes in there. I mean, I agree with that. Probably Danny Dimes instead of Ridder, and then I would put O'Connell probably a little lower because he hasn't played a full season.
Daniel Jones for me was a tough one to even put on there. As
well, he looked terrible this year, but he looked good last year. You got to keep that in mind.
But yeah, he's got the legs, and if somebody used him in an RPO where they didn't make him think for more than 2.5 seconds, then he'd be okay. But but yeah, man, I think that's interesting. I'm telling you what right now, and I don't, you know me generally with guys with mobile quarterbacks. Just mark my words. If Richardson stays healthy, he will be everything that everybody wants Lamar to be.
Hate mobile quarterbacks, by the way.
But he's not mobile. He has a cannon. He has an absolute gun, and he wants to throw the ball. He's not a run first.
I have yet to see him be super accurate. I know we got a lot of clips of him making these bombs, but I don't mean shit.
Just wait. If there's a guy in Steichen who can make Jalen Hurts look like Michael Jordan, wait till they do. Wait to see what they do with this motherfucker. So he's just got to stay healthy. He's got to stay healthy. And if Indy could win 9 games, would they win 9 or 10 games this year with Minshew? I think they won 8 games with Minshew.
I like Minshew. Did I have Minshew on my list?
I think you did. Yeah,
24.
24. I got him at 27. So and we both have in the 26, 25 area Justin Fields. So we got to see where he's going to go this season. Everyone's saying Atlanta, but we'll see. But I'm still not counting out Chicago to keep him.
No, I don't think they keep him.
If they trade out of 1, we'll see what happens. I don't
know if they trade out of 1 either.
Yeah,
we'll get into that, but I don't know if they do.
All right, so this is the last thing I wanted to do today. This is a fun thing we also talked about last time. Getting us ready for the Super Bowl. I don't think Mahomes is going to win 7, and I think you do. I think you think he's going to.
I have never said he's going to win 7 rings. This is like, again, I have to bring basketball into this because the closest thing to Mahomes Brady right now was the Jordan LeBron situation. He doesn't have to win 7 fucking rings to be considered the best when it's all said and done. If this guy gets to even just 6 Super Bowls and wins 4 of them and has unbelievable stats, makes guys around him better, and this and that, he could be arguably the best depending on what he does.
It's tough, man.
It's not all about, dude, rings are not end all be all.
Of course,
in any sport.
Let me dribble for you. Nobody says Bill Russell's the best NBA player of all time. I get you.
Yes.
I understand.
Exactly.
But at the same time, Bill Russell didn't have all the records either. Nobody's saying Robert Horry is the best basketball player of all time. Robert Horry has the most rings, right?
You gotta look, rings are a part of the conversation. Stats are a part of the conversation. You can't say stats aren't a part of the conversation.
I agree.
You also have to take into effect you have to factor in who they played,
longevity,
how the longevity. You have to take in the error. You have to take in what they're going against. It depends. We got to see. I got to look back because I know Tom Brady had to go through Big Ben, Peyton, Drew Brees, and I'm not saying he directly, but I'm saying these were the guys in the league at the time. Who else am I forgetting?
Big Ben, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. You got
that's really
Brady. You know,
Yeah,
those,
I mean,
those are the
and then there's another tier where you go Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan,
Yeah.
you know, Matthew Stafford was in there at the time. It's like
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers was in that. I mean, they were still in that second tier. They weren't as. I mean, I guess Aaron Rodgers for a period was kind of limboing between the two, but there was really three guys to go through. If we look back and Mahomes had to go through, if Joe Burrow what I'm saying is Mahomes might end his career, and there might be five guys in his career that we all of a sudden end up with in the top 8 of all time.
Okay.
I have to take that into consideration.
And I'll just make it a slightly differently named discussion. So I'm going to pop up here the 7 reasons why Mahomes won't win 7. Okay. And if you don't give a shit on whether he's going to win 7 or not, you know, then I'm going to change it a little bit. And it's going to say top fucking reasons why Mahomes, 7 reasons why he's not going to be better than Brady. And I'll tell you exactly why.
Let's hear him.
Number 1, Jim Harbaugh and Sean Payton are now in his division. Okay. So what happens is now instead of cupcake Raiders, cupcake Chargers, cupcake Broncos, now you got 2 of those 3 cupcakes getting a lot better. And God forbid Antonio Pierce turns into a real fucking coach with a real quarterback. We're going to see what happens because it leads into number 2. The AFC now is a fucking gauntlet. Not only the AFC West, but the whole AFC. The streak of these division wins year after year, the 6 fucking championship games, you think that's going to be sustained? Of course not. And the reason why it's not going to be sustained is because just unlike Tom Brady, who had the stability of the greatest head coach to be there for his whole run, the second greatest coach, as people are saying now with Big Red, fucking Andy Reid ain't going to be there.
And arguably you can say that, yeah.
He's going to be gone. Okay? So then, well, he's gone. So is going to be his other buddy, and he's going to be gone sooner than that. Okay? So 36-year-old Travis Kelce is probably going to propose to fucking Taylor Swift after they win the Super Bowl, and he's going to ride out to the fucking sunset. Okay? I want to see Mahomes. I want to see Mahomes after those 2 guys are gone. And think about what Brady had to go through. Like every other Super Bowl winning quarterback, for the most part, you got to believe that you need the run game and you need a fucking defense on a consistent level every year. And at least in the playoffs, right? They're going to have to revamp their whole fucking team if they're going to want to continue the success. I'm not saying Mahomes is not the best quarterback in the league. Of course he is right now. But is he going to be the greatest of all fucking time by the time it's over? I don't think so. And here's another piece. Brady changed his diet, his body, and his lifestyle.
How do you know this? How do you know his body's worse?
Mahomes hasn't, because look at him. Look at
when's that picture from?
From when they just beat fucking Baltimore, the AFC Championship. Look at his body.
I don't know, bro. If you watch Quarterback, I keep telling you got to watch this fucking show. If you watch Quarterback, he does some rigorous shit with his training, with his eating.
But his diet ain't fucking panning out. Look at his body. Okay. He's gotten worse than he's gotten in the beginning of his career. Brady only got better as he got older. This guy's getting worse. Okay.
You body shaming Patrick Mahomes right now.
I'm body shaming him. Thank you. I'm body shaming him. So then you want to say all that, right?
Yeah. Well, say all that.
Give me some substantial shit. Like, give me the stuff that really matters. This is where it fucking matters. It's the money.
Okay.
Okay. I know where the salary cap can be manipulated and finagled. I get it. Okay. His cap hit is now the 3rd highest of all players in this season. Okay. Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson are the other 2. And it's going to be like that for the next 5 fucking years.
And he still made it to the Super Bowl.
He still made it to the Super Bowl. It's astronomical compared to what Brady was in his career. Okay. This is what Brady did when his over his 23-year career. Brady was averaging 9% of his team's cap. Guess what? Mahomes has done that his first 8 years. He's averaged 9%, where he's getting all these championship games. He's getting all these Super Bowls.
Mahomes hasn't been in the league for 8 years, first off.
8 years. This is his 8th year. Okay.
No,
so this is it.
This is his 7th year.
17.
This is his 7th year because he's been the
7th year playing. 7th year playing. He's been in the league 8 years. So 9 years.
This is 17,
this 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. This is it.
Rock. They made a big deal. He went to 6 AFC championships. He's never not gone to an AFC championship because he was in the league for 1 year and then went to 6 straight. That's 7 years.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm wrong. I'll admit I'm wrong. So I can put I'll put this thing 7 years, right? Which is fine for 7 years. There you go.
Go ahead.
But in the next 5 years, if they don't do anything, which I know they can, but they ain't going to get it down much lower than this. Over the next 5 years, the cap hits 21% of average. Okay? So you're talking to this, like the secret sauce that I always talked about, the 12%. He shit in it last year. He did. He was at 17, exactly like he is this year. 17, and they're at the Super Bowl. Nice.
Shit it again, no?
But is 17 21%? No. And that's an average. The next 2 years, he's 23% of the cap. So you got to figure out, how the fuck are you going to surround a team with a Chris Jones again? How are you going to surround a team with another wide receiver he needs? How are you going to surround a team with a replacement of Kelsey? You know what I'm saying? With having 23% of the cap. I don't like it. I don't think that he is going to get to 7 because of all of those reasons. And to be honest with you, the cap, you may say, is the least because you can finagle the cap. You're going to fucking find rookies who are studs, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Who's going to coach them? And who's your next security blanket?
So, Rock.
Always has.
So, Rock, with all this being said, let me ask you something.
I'm all ears.
If he wins 5 Super Bowls and goes to 7, knowing all what you just said, and he does it with a second coach, he does it without Travis Kelsey, like for the whole time.
Okay.
What are you going to say then?
So you're saying in his career?
I'm saying if he goes to 5 less Super Bowls, 3 less Super Bowls than Tom Brady, because Tom went to 10.
Yes.
If he goes to 7, which is still incredible,
okay,
and he wins 5, so he's still above Montana and everybody else.
Sure.
Except for Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing everything you just said.
Yes.
And let's assume he would have had a different coach. Yep. It's obviously going to be life after Travis Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
He's done it with a different regime. And let's say he doesn't adjust his cap too much. Let's say he adjusts it down to maybe 15 or 17%, given what you're saying.
Sure.
Then what do you say?
Why didn't he go to 10? That's the question I'd ask. Why can't you get to 10?
Fucking God.
No,
so all that against them, and that's what you're going to say?
What I'm saying is
you're fucking nuts. You're out of your fucking
just think about what Tom Brady
think about this.
Deal with.
Think about let me ask you this, Rock. In the first, what was it? Let's say 7 years of Tom Brady's career when he won 3 Super Bowls. Yes. Let me ask you, and don't fucking lie about this. Let me give your honest opinion.
I'm always honest.
Was Tom Brady the best quarterback in the league when that happened?
In his first 7 years? No.
Yes.
No.
Is Patrick Mahomes the best quarterback in the league in his first 7 years?
Yes.
So that's already a 1-up. Now let me ask you. The next year, yes, it is. The next year, what happened? He went undefeated, and then people started becoming scared of him. The first 7 years, what did we find out on that undefeated year? I understand he won, but what did we find out? Spygate. So I'm not saying I'm taking anything away from Tom Brady.
Spygate threw 50 touchdown passes?
Yeah, I agree. 100%. He did, but guess what he didn't do without Spygate? He didn't win a fucking Super Bowl for 10 years. And then the 2 Super Bowls he had, so you can argue maybe he doesn't beat the Rams without Spygate. Maybe he doesn't. I don't even remember who else he plays. He played the Rams. Who would he play? The Eagles. Maybe he doesn't beat Donovan McNabb without Spygate.
The Panthers. Yeah.
What if you do that and all of a sudden now he went to 10? What if he's 4-6? Still incredible.
Hey, and I hate to do this again. We could say that about LeBron James.
I agree. I agree. And I do say that about LeBron James.
But it didn't happen.
Because I think without Golden State doing what they did, I think 4-6 can be 6-4 real easy.
Yeah, and you can say, hey, he didn't deserve to win the Seahawks game, but then again, at the same time, they didn't deserve to lose the game with the helmet catch. All this other stuff. All happened.
I agree. But that's why if you win 5 and you are statistically better, if you are doing it with different circumstances, if you're going through a tougher road, because Tom Brady created a new standard, which is creating a new level of quarterback play in the league.
Yeah.
Despite what this fucking guy says, how do we not give him credit, even though he didn't reach 7?
It's not about credit. It's the fact that when Brady did it, Brady doesn't have the gifts that this guy has. Brady didn't even have the pieces until that fucking 2007.
So how am I going to say he's better than Mahomes?
What I'm saying is then Mahomes better beat his record. Why can't Mahomes beat his record then?
Because
Mahomes is better, if Mahomes is the best quarterback,
because it's hard, Rock. It's circumstantial. Everything
yes, exactly.
has. You understand?
Brady did it not as the best. He beat other people that were better.
Let's go back. Let's go back in those years and see what happens if Randy Moss gets hurt. If Gronk is not hurt, is hurt.
The only ifs we're talking about is from 2024 on.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, with that being said, is what if it doesn't break Mahomes' way? I have to now crucify him for that because, hey, man, let's say they go get T. Higgins next year. Let's say they're able to figure it out, right? Sure. Pacheco, and then starting of the year, T. Higgins and Travis Kelce fucking break their leg, and Pacheco, falls off a cliff.
It's 1 year. It's 1 year.
That's one less.
Brady had 10 of them. Brady had 10 of them.
But that could happen. That could happen multiple times.
That's a shame. There goes your legacy. You're telling me Dan Marino. You're telling me that if he had a run game, if you had this, you had that. But nobody's saying Dan Marino's the best ever. They may say he's the most.
People
talented.
did before Brady went to 6.
Yeah,
they did.
They said he was the most talented. The best quarterback before Brady was Joe Montana.
People would argue that. People would argue Marino was better than Joe Montana.
You know why Joe Montana was the best? Was because he fucking won more than anybody. That is in football. It's not the same as basketball. You could be the 12th man on a team and have.
So if Mahomes has more playoff wins, more regular season wins, and let's say he goes to 11 Super Bowls, but only wins 5.
You think Mahomes, number one, bro, Brady played 23 fucking years, right? So that's a lot of fucking shit.
I agree.
A lot of wins, a lot of games, a lot of stats, a lot of everything. The guy went to 10 fucking Super Bowls. He went 7-3 in 10.
And Mahomes is already breaking some of his records.
But I want to. That's all. I don't understand the problem with me saying I want to see the next 16 years, even if he doesn't.
I think it's crazy to say that they have to do the same thing.
I'm not saying same thing, but
I think if he gets close and does it in different circumstances, he's warranted the conversation. And then when you start breaking down the intangibles, all right, this guy's got more rings, but this guy was actually more talented. This guy did it in harder situations. This guy did it with multiple coaches.
What's the threshold? If he wins, is it 5?
I think he has to win. I think he has to win 5.
5. Okay.
I think he has to win 5 and go to 8. That means he would have had gone to 7 because he's already got 2 losses.
Yeah.
I think 5 for me would be the conversation. And by the way, I still have Tom Brady in the GOAT conversation as far as the greatest of all time. I don't think he's going to get 7 rings, and he's probably not going to surpass Tom Brady. But the trajectory that he's going, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think he's got the best shot to do it. But I just don't understand the people.
If everything stays the same, I don't
know why people have such a hard time thinking that it's possible. And that this was real quick. I got to say this too. You have so many LeBron haters that say Jordan's the best. I think Jordan's the best too. But it's they say that you only like Jordan, or the people only like LeBron because they grew up with LeBron. Bro, guess what? I grew up with Brady. I'm already ready to start thinking about Mahomes. I'm already.
You hate Brady. So that's
I respect the fuck out of him, bro. I was rooting for him.
A little piece.
I don't like Mahomes either, dude. And he's gonna be a problem if my team gets good again. There's gonna be plenty of reason to fucking hate him.
The one question I asked that started all this, which is fine because this is great banter. I fucking asked one question.
Is it going to
do this when all those dudes are gone?
I think he can.
And we can't figure that out until then. But
we're going to see it.
With my 7 things, those are going to be definites. So you have to figure out, can he get over those definites?
And if
I believe no. You
but
believe
if
yes.
but if he does, I'm not saying for sure he's going
If he
to.
does, I don't
But-
necessarily know how many it is. Like, I don't know if it's 5. I don't know if it's 4. I don't know if it's 6. I don't know what it is. I got to see it over the long haul. I got to see how this fucking game ends up evolving if we're playing flag football here in 5 years.
Let me ask you this, Rock. Did Peyton Manning have success in Denver?
I mean, yes. Yes. of
Did
course.
Tom Brady have success in Tampa Bay?
Yes.
Did Matthew Stafford have success in LA? Did Joe Montana have success in KC going to an AFC championship basically on his last year of his career? Yes. So with that being said, why is it so hard to believe that Mahomes can continue this with a different crew and a different coach?
I think it's just, honestly, Scotty, I think where it comes from for me is I believe that the fact is that I just truly don't believe in Mahomes as I can go to Jacksonville and change it. You know, like, I think that's the issue I still have. I don't believe.
I don't think any of these. Well, Jacksonville is actually not as far behind.
Saying? Like you know,
I don't think any of these guys could do that. Look. To be, let's be real here. Tom Brady didn't go to a shitty situation.
Let me put it this way: he has less of a chance, in my opinion, to do what Tom Brady did. He has, I think, I don't want to get into the whole Stafford situation, but I think he has and honestly, if you really
was Tampa a good team when Tom Brady got there?
Yes, but they also had a lot of guys follow him, right? It was a different team than when he
agreed, and that's what would happen if Mahomes went somewhere.
You
don't. There would be guys lining up around the fucking building.
Yeah.
If
Brady had to
Mahomes,
prove it to me. Brady had to prove it to me that he can win without Belichick. Brady had to prove it to me that he could win without the fucking Patriot way and the snow and the fucking and the defense of the Patriots.
Which
he did.
Which by the way, we didn't get into that at all. But Big Balls has never won without Brady.
Oh, he's never has in his whole career.
So, is he really the best coach of all time? I don't know.
Whether it's Cleveland, we'll see. I mean, and that's the thing. I think the big thing with Big Balls, like we'll talk about, is he just doesn't know how to pick players, especially on the offense side of the ball. Mostly on the offense side of the ball. But the fact is that I guess I just don't have an inner belief that Mahomes is going to be able to do the same things as those other guys. And to be honest, Peyton Manning had. He was great with Denver, and he got crushed in a Super Bowl, and he couldn't throw a fucking spiral in the year that they won the Super Bowl. It's because they had the best defense anybody's ever seen in 10 years.
Circumstances matter. That's what I'm saying.
I get it. So it also depends on how he wins. If Mahomes limps into more Super Bowls,
I agree.
7 don't look like 7, but it's we'll see. But I just don't believe that when Big Red retires and when Kelsey says I'm done, and now they got to revamp and retool. It might be a shock to the system on how important those two fucking guys were for Mahomes. So we'll see. But I think that was a very good conversation. I appreciate it. I just want to real quick one more time put this up. I just want everyone to enjoy this.
Body shaming this guy.
Okay, all right. Is this Mac Jones or is this Mahomes? I'm not sure. All right. So that was it. As you see, we're getting ready for Super Bowl 58. This is going to be a hell
of a game, man. We got to get into it next
days
week.
To get rid of this game. I just, again, being the best quarterback in the league right now, against a guy like Purdy and against a coach who generally is not great under pressure, I got to imagine that this is also, I mean, if you want to inject the fucking Taylor Swift bullshit into it as well, you got to imagine the NFL is putting on the edge of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm on the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll see if that carries in through the next 9 days. I don't see myself changing my opinion, but we'll see. And this is a real big test for Shanahan. It really is. So,
you think there's any chance Taylor Swift performs at halftime?
It's Usher, I believe, is the official.
Usher's the guy. But what I'm saying is the halftime show, they usually have guests. So like I'm expecting Justin Bieber to be there.
Oh, is that what you're
That's
expecting?
that's his boy. That's his boy.
Oh, I'm out of the loop with Usher.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what.
That was like his protege.
Yeah, no, they will definitely have Taylor Swift do something. I mean, for sure.
I don't know because I know she's going to be coming from a show, so maybe she might say, "No, fuck this, I'm a fan," but it wouldn't be a bad idea
But
given
the
the
NFL is doing the right
circumstance.
thing. They're doing the right thing if they want more asses in the seats and more eyeballs on the product. And it's making Kelsey play better too. Kelsey's having unbelievable playoffs.
By the way, does the Taylor Swift thing bother you? Doesn't bother me at all.
I don't care.
I don't
mean,
give a fuck. I
what
just
bothers
ignore
me-
it. You get so many people, these fans that are like, I'm not trying to say it's like chauvinistic or anything like that, but like they're so like, oh my, I think it's because there's like a little bit of drama brought into the sport that's from like the outside, that it's like, this is the kind of shit that you like kind of make fun of your wife or girlfriend behind closed doors or significant other when they're watching like The Bachelor or all this bullshit. You're like, yeah, that's not the shit I watch. And now it's kind of bringing a little bit of that in. So I think that's why people get so upset. I don't give a fuck. It just expands the sport, man. Brings more popularity to it.
The only issue I have with the NFL right now is I think with the whole betting situation. I think it's gonna ruin the league, and I think it's gonna ruin a lot of people. To be honest, but yeah, the Taylor Swift thing is going to be in and out. You know, it's especially after, you know, if they end up breaking up or
which they will. It's not going to last for too
when
long.
Kelsey retires, you know, when Kelsey retires, it's over. Right?
Which you think is in like a fucking month.
I think if he wins a Super Bowl, he's out. I really do. But yeah, this was good, and we'll get into it next week when you know, we talk a little bit more about the matchup itself. I want to dive into the details of what these teams have been doing, especially in the playoff season, and the edges that they have, you know, coming into this game. Like I said, I can't fucking bet against Mahomes, and I think not only for Shanahan, but this is a big game for your boy, Brocky boy. So we'll get into that, and you got anything else?
Nah, I got nothing, man.
All right, baby. Well, so then we'll see you guys next week. And I guess I'm saying for Scotty G, this is Rocco B saying see you later and sayonara.
Adios.